Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Chicago. And today our question comes to us from WyldSilverWolf. And WyldSilverWolf tells us that when he was in middle school, he was taught that many popular nursery rhymes and fairy tales have their roots in things that actually happened. And he would like to know my opinion about this, and also if I could recommend any fairy tales particularly appropriate for pagan children. And to begin with the first part of this question, there is a point of view that is held by some people that popular nursery rhymes of times past were often based on actual historical incidents and had their origin in adult lampoons of those incidents that were then passed on to children because they were very memorable. And I think that this is true for some of them. I think that there has been an attempt to extend this theory farther than it really goes, but I do think in many cases that it does have some currency to it. And I'll give you an example. The famous nursery rhyme Old King Cole is widely said to be based upon a merchant of London from the late, I believe, 18th century, who was known by the nickname King Cole and was known for leading a very extravagant lifestyle. There are other people who believe that it is related to the Welsh ruler Colhane, but I think the merchant in London is a more likely candidate, and it does seem very probable to me that that could be the origin of said nursery rhyme. However, I think that there are many other nursery rhymes that probably have their origins in other things, including common proverbs and also perhaps ancient mythology. Now, to the second half of this question, fairy tales, I think, are much more commonly descended from ancient mythology. And as to the question, which ones have pagan themes, I think the question is really rather, which ones don't? Of the older traditional fairy tales, I think they almost all do. Although in some cases, to make them truly appropriate for pagan children, you'd have to remove a little bit of gloss from them and try to get back to more of their original meaning. But most of them seem to deal with myths about the seasons, about life and death and rebirth, and so forth. In some cases, you may want to look for older or different versions of the story. For example, I really wouldn't think Hansel and Gretel would be the best fairy tale for little pagan children. However, the Baba Yaga stories, to which it is very closely connected, I think would be highly appropriate because they represent the crone goddess in a much more mythologically resonant form. And I write about this in some detail in the First Degree book. So, I think that there are an awful lot of fairy tales that would be appropriate for pagan children with maybe just a little tweaking to bring them up to date with modern times. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, and until next time, may you blessed be. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Chicago. And you can listen to me, the Pagan Pundit, every Thursday night on paganstonight.com at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, when we talk about the witchness of the why, the nature of God, the universe, and everything, and pretty much anything you want to talk about because we're driven by listeners' questions. So I hope you'll join me Thursday night.